What's up YouTube, Mambuna Marcus here. Today's video is a fish tank update and we're going to start in my fish room. So we're going to go tank by tank and I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of a breakdown as to what I have going on, and we'll go from there. So the first tank that I always start with is my 20-gallon quarantine. Like I said, I have a few quarantine tanks in the fish room and it's very, very important. Obviously, if you have an established aquarium and you were to go out to your local fish store and purchase something that wasn't 100% healthy and introduce it into your established aquarium, that can just basically prove disastrous. So if you're out there, first thing I'll recommend for anybody is to get a quarantine aquarium. And as you can see in this tank, I have some blue or purple ACI. Really nice looking color on them. These are Florida farm raised. And I picked up another Dragon Bloods Peacock. This one's actually orange in color. The other one I have in my main aquarium is pink. And I picked up a couple. I have them separated. I didn't want any problems. 20-gallon aquarium is not really big enough to house two dominant Dragon's Bloods that are probably around 4.5 inches in length. So these guys will be in this quarantine tank for a little while. Usually I like to quarantine you know, for about 5 weeks. They typically say 3 to 4, but just to be safe, you know, 5 to 6 weeks. The longer, the better. You know, obviously rushing something like that, like I said, can basically be hazardous. So the longer you can keep your fish in quarantine, the better. And as you can see, these guys are doing quite nicely. Tank below, it's really dark. I don't have a light on it. And basically, what I have going on in here is my red marble Convict breeding project. So as you can see, the male's a little bit of, you know, a little aggressive. Female sitting in the tube there, if you can even see that. But I imagine that I should see some fry real soon. So like I said, what I want to develop is you know, a Convict that shows a lot of red to the body. And these are the two that are going to start the project. So be interesting to see where it goes. Next tank that we have up here, you'll notice that my water level's down on some of my aquariums. Some of the tanks that I have just power filters running off the back of them. And when it gets really hot here in the summer, you know, sometimes if the water level's up too high, I find that, you know, maybe there's not enough gas exchange. By dropping the level down just a little bit, you know, as you can see with the water cascading into the aquarium, it produces a ton of oxygen. So when the weather goes up, you know, and the temperatures go up, I like to bring my water levels down a little bit. You know, obviously if I'm displaying the fish, I'll top it up, but in this case, you can see this tank's quite stacked. This is my 155-gallon tank. This was a grow-out aquarium, and since then, you know, obviously I have a lot of fish that I've purchased in the past, or recently, you know, that are now fully quarantined. So anything that's fully quarantined goes into here, is grown out, and then anything, you know, that turns out to be pretty decent will usually end up in my show aquarium. As you can see here, I have some, this one's a beautiful OB Peacock, real nice. I have another Dragon's Blood. He's pink, but again, he's not dominant. You know, that big sunshine over there kind of keeps him in line. And when he is a little more in a dominant mood, the pink he has is really pink. So, you know, excited about him. He'll turn out obviously quite nice. This is a fish I picked up too that I'm really excited about. I believe it's, you know, Spilinotis Maro Rocks. You know, I think it's very closely related, or maybe the line bred variety is what you guys in the States call as Phoenix. But again, this little guy is showing some really good potential, so maybe another inch from now he's going to be a real stunner. Below is my 55 or 60-gallon cube. Again, nothing much going on in here. I just did a recent update video. There's a female Wolf Cichlid sitting under the rocks there, and the male red tiger Motoguense kind of hides out up in the plants. Both fish are extremely shy. But to my surprise, these two fish bred, you know, last week, and I had a lot of free swimming fry in the aquarium. As you can see, now there's no fry. I noticed that something was eating the fry, so before they were all gone, I made sure I scooped them all out. And as you can see, they're in here now. So I would say I have probably about 30 to 40, you know, fry, you know, like I said, a red tiger, Dovii fry cross. Fish that you see above are just some other, these are full borni fry. And I have them separated at the moment. I want to make sure that these hybrids basically grow out a little bit more and are maybe a little more mature before I introduce this Mambuna fry. So like I said, I'm happy that I scooped out the remaining fry. Basically the numbers were dwindling by about 50% every night, so I knew something was up. You know, I kind of get a little jealous when I see some of you other YouTubers with your Central and South American cichlids breeding in your tanks and fry living amongst the parents, you know, free swimming, around an inch in size. That's what I wanted. But my luck, my Central and South American cichlids tend to eat the fry. So they're in here. I'm going to grow them out, and then obviously as time goes on, move them into some of my other grow out aquariums. Just another quarantine tank. I got a German red peacock in it. Had some real aggression with the last batch of peacocks that I picked up, so I had to separate them. As you can see over here, I got two new empty 5.5 gallon aquariums, and these are going to be for quarantine and grow out purposes also. I just found that my spending habits lately kind of compromised basically the fish tank space that I had available. So I was having issues with things that are not ready to come out of quarantine, you know, fighting with each other, and I decided, you know, just in case I have the impulse to purchase something else, I'm better to be safe than sorry. So I picked up an extra couple of aquariums. Here's my main Mambuna display. As you can see, it's pretty barren. I've sold a lot of the African cichlids out of it. I've been selling them off as pairs. There's nice red top zebra. He is one of the babies of my former male that passed away because of bloat about a year ago. These target fish are getting really big. You know, I picked them up, like I said, under an inch in size. Two of them are a little bit smaller, but the one dominant one, he's probably pushing close to 4 inches now. So once they've established themselves, they you know, they basically grew a lot quicker than I expected. You know, they showed very slow growth in the beginning, but obviously now that's not the case. Beautiful fish, but I'm debating on selling the trio, so I'll have to keep that in mind what to do. But other than that, the tank's pretty barren. I want to take most of the fish out of here and introduce them into this aquarium. There's a few other fish I need to sell. I have a big Cobalt blue zebra. He's really nice. I'm going to sell a pair of my high reef Afra and maybe a couple other oddballs. I want to pretty much lean it right out and basically keep the tank open for a new option, or how can I say, if I get any new idea, I want to go from there. Red cap Nadumbi, one of my favorite Mambunas, as you can see. Just wicked color, and even though he's aggressive, he's not going anywhere. So let's move over. This is the 35 gallon tank, and this is a grow out aquarium. Look at that OB. This OB was in my 55 gallon, and I purchased them at a small size about 6 months ago. But man, the potential on this guy is insane. So I had to make sure I separated him. I didn't want anything to happen to him. I want to grow him out, you know, in this grow out aquarium with all this cichlid fry, you know, Mambuna fry. These are Galleria Reef red top zebras and some high reef Afra. And you can obviously see why. You know, I don't want any aggression to affect this guy. I want him to come into his own, grow him out, mature him, and possibly breed them. So very, very nice fish. Everything in here is doing really well. Another fish of mention, Lamprologus kandali. Real nice potential fish in the future. It's going to get pretty big too. So other than that, we have the 35 gallon below, and I have my Atabapo red Pike Cichlid. She's doing really well, and just some tremendous color. You catch her at the right moment, she's just awesome. So maybe see if I can get her to come out for you. She's pretty personable, but in this case she doesn't recognize the camera, so we'll let her be. Tank beside it, 15-gallon quarantine, and I have a real nice German red peacock in here that's being quarantined, but again, at this point, he's not ready to be introduced into any other aquarium. And it doesn't look like he's going to come out for the camera. So, other than that, the last aquarium in the fish room is my, basically my cichlid fry grow out tank, my 20-gallon. So the fish that come from the 5.5-gallon aquariums eventually end up in here. And what I like about it, I do some pretty major water changes on the aquarium, usually every 2 to 3 days. But that in turn just grows the fish out like crazy, so pretty awesome. There's quite a mixture of everything in there. Some celebes, some dwarf rainbows, some I think Negro lineata loaches, some butterfly loaches. So yeah, it's quite a mix of everything. But again, as soon as the cichlids grow a little bit larger, or I need to introduce some new cichlid fry to the aquarium, I'll usually take the cichlid fry from this and then move them into the 35. So that's the fish room, and it's now time off to see my main display in the living room. So here's my main display tank in my living room. As you can see, this is the tank where all my colorful grow out cichlids end up. And this tank I'm very pleased with, and the balance is excellent. Everybody seems to get along quite well. The hierarchy is very well established, but no real aggression issues in the aquarium, which I'm very happy about. Obviously you can see in the forefront, this is my dragon blood peacock, and he owns the tank. He's much larger than everybody else. But he knows that, he has nothing left to prove. He doesn't have to basically fight for dominance. He knows no one in this tank can contest him, so he makes for a very good aquarium boss. People have asked me, how do I mix certain cichlids and how do I keep aggression down? Well, the best way is to find yourself a, large established cichlid that knows he's the boss and can easily put anybody into their place if he has to, but also has the personality that is not relentless and constantly harasses the fish in the aquarium. So if you can find yourself a good tank boss, a friend of mine calls him a tank cop, then the balance of the aquarium is going to be much better. So for example, I have a cobalt blue zebra here, and he's a male, but if he had free run of the aquarium, he would be much worse than what he is. But because he's second in line, that dragon blood keeps him in check. And because he keeps him in check, he can never really get too out of hand. So that's very important to keep in mind when keeping cichlids, is to find yourself, a nice large aquarium tank boss or cop. And he'll make sure everybody stays in line. So from here, we'll go downstairs. So here's the Dovii pair. As you can see, the male just sitting out. The female lives in the tube. She comes out a lot. She's just extremely shy when I'm in the room, and especially when I got the camera in my hand. They're very intelligent fish, and they definitely know when something's a little off. It'd be nice if she came out for you guys, but there's a good chance that she won't. She's gotten huge. She's probably around 11 inches these days. And she's really thick, so she kind of gives the big guy a little bit of a run for his money. That's caused him to mellow out quite a bit. But other than that, typical pair behavior. They typically have eggs every 3 weeks or so. The catfish in the tank, though, they're nocturnal. They come out, eat the eggs, and basically if they get to the free swimming fry stage, they don't last too long either. Again, no love loss. I'm not looking at raising a 1,000 Dovii fry at the moment. Even the fry are extremely aggressive and require a lot of tank space to grow them out in. So I just let nature take its course in this tank, and as you can see, they're doing quite well. So here we are in my laundry room. This is where I keep my 275 gallons. As you can see, this is my poor example of a planted aquarium. But as you guys know from, you know, the last Fishroom update videos that I've done, I've had a lot of problems with this tank when it came to suspended algae and nuisance algae. So it's gone through a lot of phases, you know. Basically, I'm just running some very high output T5 bulbs on it. But either way, balance was a real issue I had with the aquarium. But as you can see, it's now crystal clear. Obviously, I did a water change a few days ago. But I took the old tube out, which was a part of the under gravel system, and I put this real ugly sponge filter in the tank. You know, I'm not running CO2, I'm just using high light and some, you know, and I'm just growing some very hardy plants. Obviously I've done a poor job of that, but the whole goal was just basically to establish, you know, balance. And then once I've established balance, you know, where I'm not being overtaken by algae daily, my goal was to grow maybe some harder to grow type plants. But obviously, you know, the key is balance, you know, where I'm not having to wipe down the glass every 2 days or doing massive water changes, you know, to sometimes it was 3 times a week just based on that suspended algae that I had in it. But either way, it seems now that it's balanced. There always was a lot of particulate and cloudy matter that, you know, left the tank not crystal clear, and that's why I threw the sponge filter in. You know, obviously I'll throw something in a little smaller down the road, but I don't have room on the back of this tank to basically put a power filter or room to put a canister filter on it. So like I said, I'll have to use this sponge filter in the meantime, and maybe I'll just grow some plants in and around it to hide it, you know. So, or again, just maybe use a smaller sponge. But either way, the sponge filter has basically sucked out all the particulate, and now the tank's crystal clear. So now I can also do some, you know, species update videos on, you know, say some of these torpedo barbs, cherry barbs. I have a lot of fish in this tank that I've wanted to document, but the conditions were never good in the tank to shoot videos. So now, since it's crystal clear, we'll be good to go. Tank below, sorry for the net in the tank. I just actually scooped a Pike Cichlid out of it, and I sent it out, you know. I was basically, had a guy that purchased it off the net. I shipped it to him, and I forgot that this other net that I used to, you know, basically chase the Pike Cichlid into the other, fell into the aquarium. So sorry about that, but no big deal. Again, this is where I'm keeping a lot of my other goodies. Tank's pretty dark. I'll see if I can lighten it up. I guess not, we're kind of limited. But I have some red tiger motaguents in there, some polypterous species, and a couple Maison Reef females. The Maison Reef females are breeder females that I had for my male that I had in the past. And the current male that I have right now is just a little too small to breed with them. The females were giving them a real hard time. So there's one of the females. So basically I'm allowing the male to establish himself, and then when he's basically taken dominance of the breeder tank upstairs, I'll reintroduce the females, but not until then. Red tiger females looking real nice. Real cool fish. And hopefully at some point, you know, they'll be large enough and I'll introduce them with that male red tiger that I have upstairs. So other than that, the tank's kind of barren. Pulled apart because of trying to get that Pike Cichlid out. But at this moment, it's just there to basically house some additional fish that I have. So, you know, eventually I'll get the male maybe red tiger into the tank and use it for specifically breeding purposes, but you never know. Keeping fish, things are bound to change, you know, day to day, week to week. So I'll just go with the flow, and then from there, figure it all out. Thanks for watching.